Didn't even have time for music today. Hi guys. Hey, day 4. And we are back. Day 4 of the JumpStart challenge. And I just have to say thank you. It has been an amazing week. There have been just an outpouring, I would say, of just support and stories of just things getting into motion. And I know that it is just the tip of the iceberg. And so that is so exciting to me because we have an opportunity to really affect change together. And so I'm excited to continue that journey. I'm excited to, this is just bothering me. I'm going to move this just a little bit. I'm excited to continue that journey. So it's been a busy morning over here. It probably has been for you too. Here's the thing that happens once you kick off momentum. It starts to take on a life of its own. Yeah. You're going to probably have, things on your to-do list that you didn't expect, and people and resources and opportunities crop up that you didn't expect. And that is such a huge part of the blessing of momentum. And tomorrow is actually a momentum day. So far, we've talked about getting into motion. We've talked about the mental game and mindset. Of course, we talked about mojo yesterday, and I highly encourage you guys to take a look at your offering, right? Look at your pricing, your positioning, your packaging, and your process, the path that you're leading on the people on, because you really do want to get in touch with the source of your truest, strongest sense of confidence, which is just that knowingness about the value that you're bringing to the marketplace, and then having the willingness to step out with passion and sharing that. And when you create that kind of FaceTime with people and you're sharing from that place, selling really is so much more about sharing, and it is about partnering, right? It's about linking arms with them and finding a solution to the problem or the challenge that they have at hand. And that is going to take your sales so far. I can't even tell you. One of the things that comes up when you're looking at your packaging and your pricing is maybe some of the limiting beliefs that you have around money. And sometimes we feel a little self-conscious about what we're asking for in exchange for our services or our products. And we really have to be in tune with because we're going to pass along that subconscious block or limitation that we might feel. We may very well may pass that along to the people that we're sharing with. And so we want to be really in touch with that. I will say that money is a very complicated subject, right? It is for me. It is for a lot of people that I talk to. We grow up with, conditioning in our families. I grew up in a very hardworking, family in Detroit. My dad was a welder. My mom was a teacher. She went back to school actually in her 30s to get her degree. And my dad actually dropped out of college when he found out that they were having me. And so, they both worked very, very hard their whole life. And I grew up with the work hard ethic for sure. And money was, it's taken it my whole life for me to realize that I not only need to work hard, but I need to work smart. And I need to learn from people that have different money blueprints. There's some really good parts of that money blueprint, but there's also people who know how to do things differently, right? People who grow up in families where there was some legacy pieces of financial literacy or financial wellness, right? Maybe there was some wealth building or some assets or things that were passed along. I didn't have that passed along in my upbringing. But I recognized in my 20s that I was going to have to start learning from outside of my conditioning circle, if you will, that I wanted to learn some ways that maybe my family didn't have it to give me, right? They were, they were given the very best they could from their parents, and we pass along progress in the form that we're able to. I truly believe that we give what we have to give, but we give from an honest place. Like, I don't have to give what I don't have to give. And so because I have that growth mindset that we talked about on day 2, right? I knew that I needed to become a studier, a learner. I needed to apply that intellectual curiosity to the area of financial literacy, as well as the areas of personal growth, professional growth, mindset. I knew that I needed to learn more about money than I was just naturally brought up with. And so I started studying, honestly. I started studying. Now, some of my studying was actually delayed. It wasn't until my 30s, when I got divorced and I found myself being a single mom with 2 kids. And I knew that the financial reality that I was experiencing then was not the financial reality that I wanted to experience later. And I knew that with more intentionality, with more know-how, that I could in fact change my money reality, my financial reality. But I knew that it was going to take some conscious awareness and some different steps. And so I started studying, I started reading. I read, The Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I read Think and Grow Rich, right? I read The Richest Man in Babylon. Lots of financial literacy out there. Of course, Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman. I mean, there's so many, Tony Robbins. These are all people who have published on the subject of money. And there's so many things to learn from those people. And I felt like I very much needed to learn a lot of those things because I wasn't taught about investments. I was taught primarily about trading time for money, but I knew that there was a different way. And I just didn't know how to get there, and I didn't know how to bring that into my world. And so I started chopping it down like a tree. Basically, chop, chop, chop the tree. You don't know if it's going to be the 17th blow or the 27th blow or the 270th blow that takes down the tree. But I knew without a shadow of a doubt that if I changed me, the things outside of me would change. And so I took that growth mindset and I applied it to money. And I started to debunk, I started to unravel this ball of yarn that I'll just call my money blueprint or my money history. You guys, the reason I go all the way back to this, because we all, somebody said adult years are basically the years we spend recovering from our childhood. I couldn't think of the word. And a lot of times that's true, right? We've experienced traumas and dramas, conditioning. We come in with patterns, habits, defaults, but back to some of that default thinking with personalities that we talked about in day 2. You guys, all of that is very much a part of us. It's definitely part of our history, part of our personalities, part of our defaults, part of our patterns, but we do have the ability to change it. And this Jumpstart Challenge is a chance for you to examine some of those things because it affects your sales. I'm here to tell you that those habits, those hangups and bangups might be affecting your productivity. For a long time, I was hesitating. I was procrastinating in my sales journey. I wasn't asking for the sale. I wasn't Johnny on the spot and sending the email or asking for the appointment or even depositing checks. I've seen myself at times be sluggish around money. And if I ask myself why, then it starts to get me back here to this money blueprint, right? Is there something in me that believes it needs to be harder to receive money, that believes that it needs to be harder to create money? And so I've spent some time examining those things in myself. And I really encourage you to take this Jumpstart Challenge opportunity in the next 90 days. If you want to jumpstart sales, then we already know you got to jumpstart you. And if you're going to jumpstart you, maybe that is reprogramming some of these things. Maybe it's redesigning, recrafting, revamping. And maybe some of that is about rebounding and recovering from some old um, paths and experiences that weren't the best, right? When you start to peel back some of those things that we were taught in our childhood, many of those things are about money, right? Well, money doesn't grow on trees. Well, money is the root of all evil. Well, I think you got to look at some of those things and ask yourself, do you believe that money is the root of all evil? Do you believe that um, that you can't have money and have relationships with the people that you're close to? Do you believe that you can have money and um, have great relationships and have great health and work-life balance and be a giving, humble person? Or have you been told a series of things that you adopted to be true that you never really challenged? Right? I used to think that that if I had money more than I needed, that made me a more selfish person or a less humble person. And that is something that I've come to recognize is not true. I heard somebody say, well, money just makes you more of what you already are. And I totally see that demonstrated in my own life. I'm a very gift giving is one of my primary love languages. I love giving gifts. I love helping people in all kinds of ways. And what I found is that when I was poorer, I had a lot less to give, and I couldn't exhibit some of those generous ways the way that my heart really wanted to. And when I had more money, I could help my friends and family. I could give back to the charities and causes that truly meant something to me. I felt like I feel like I can increase my impact with more money because at my core, I really want to utilize money to build people up, to build up organizations that build people up. I want to serve those who are serving others. And so I'm going to do that with both my time, my energy, my talents, and my money, and my tithing. And so that is a really important part to me. But this is an opportunity to look at your money blueprint and ask yourself, if there are any kinks in the garden hose, right? Are there any energetic blockers, if you will? Maybe you believe in the pricing and packaging. And, I was thinking about in looking at your pricing and packaging, you might work for an organization where you don't really have any control over that. It's like, well, I just sell for this organization and this is what it is. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. You just need to make sure that if you are trying to jumpstart your sales, which I'm assuming you might be interested in because you're here watching this, that you're aligned with it energetically, right? That you understand the value that you're bringing to the marketplace, and that you feel good, that there's nothing standing in your way about feeling good, asking in exchange for that value something financial in exchange for that, right? And you make that journey, you make that path and that process again about them, not about you. You pay attention, to their goals, their solutions, and not your own, right? My goal might be to make the sale, but really my goal is to hear them. My goal is to match their solution with a resource. It may be a resource I have, it may be a resource someone else has. I don't know if you've seen the movie, what? Oh, goodness. It's the Christmas movie with Natalie Wood. A Miracle on 42nd Street. Yeah. And the Santa Claus, the original movie, and I think that the remake as well, but the original movie is about Santa Claus who was listening to children and what gifts they wanted for Christmas. And then even if Macy's didn't have the gift, he would send them down the street to Bergdorf's or whatever store had the gift And he was matching the child's wish with a solution that was met outside of the store. And at first, everybody was so upset because he wasn't just funneling the business back to Macy's, even though he was a Macy's employed Santa. And then it became the best thing ever. And people thought it was amazing that this Macy's Santa would be so generous of heart. And then that actually came back triple fold, quadruple fold to make Macy's look even better, because it wasn't just all about Macy's, right? You guys, you have an opportunity when you are presenting your service and your product to make it about them instead of about you. And if you match their solution to a thing that you don't particularly offer, just trust that giving spirit, that reciprocity is going to come into effect, and just feel good about doing the right thing. Don't make it about you, make it about them. Because, if you hold loosely to that attachment, no, maybe you don't know where it all leads, and maybe it doesn't lead to a check that you get to take to your bank account. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter, because it'll come back to you in ways that you can't even see, right? That goodwill and that spirit of generosity and that true spirit of caring will come back in your sales. I promise it will. And it might not be something that you can monetarily track. Maybe it will, but that's not really the point. The point is of this whole thing is to manage your own energy effectively so that you can productively reach and create the life and business of your dreams. And to manage your own energy in such a way that you raise your you raise your mojo, your vibration to such a point that you attract the very best in people, because you're bringing out the very best in yourself. And that's the truth. You're going to attract what you are. So if if you're feeling lack in the money department, and you're focused on what's missing, and you're focused on feeling like it's hard, and you're focused on feeling like everything's really expensive, and you walk around grumbling about the price of gas and the price of groceries, and how home prices have raised and interest rates aren't low enough, and and how the current administration in Washington isn't doing what it can to make prices the way you think they should be. All of that focus, all of that energy is taking away from your true power, because you're giving it away. You're just giving it into this vortex of gap. And you're going to just keep attracting more gap. So my guess is you're going to find some people that at the gas pump, as you're sitting there grumbling about the price, want to commiserate with you and talk about the price. Yeah, you're going to attract more people that are venting, complaining. If you are in a sales environment and you're having a sluggish month and you start complaining about that sluggish month, people are going to come alongside of you and they're going to like complaining with you. Right? But is that really it, guys? Is that really going to get it done? Is that going to create the life or the business of your dreams? Commiserating, getting through the day? Is that what we've reduced ourselves to? No. The JumpStart Challenge is about recognizing that you can have something more. You can have something different. And it starts with you. It starts by aligning your energy. You can up-level, right? If you guys haven't been through the first few days with me, please go back and watch those replays, because all of this is building on each other, right? That mojo piece yesterday, and looking at your packaging and pricing, and then talking about money today, focusing on more than enough, focusing on the right people, focusing on the value that you bring to the table, really connecting to them and what they need. You guys, this is all, it's layering. It's stacking up together so that momentum is truly possible. And not only are you going to get in motion, this is going to become a wave that starts carrying you, right? So part of the money day formula, I will tell you, is you have to start putting yourself out there and getting more of those FaceTime opportunities. Remember, there's 2 lead measures, right? How much FaceTime do you have with potential clients, customers, and patients? Right? How can you get more appointments or more FaceTime, more conversations with them? It doesn't have to be FaceTime over video or FaceTime in a room. When I say FaceTime, I even mean over the phone. I'm just talking about a conversation, right? The other thing is, how many times are you asking for the sale? Right? One of the clearest statistics that I've ever read about hiring and recruiting talent is that over 85% of candidates for a job fail to ask for the job. They don't ask for the sale. Are you having conversations where you're not asking? So are you getting the FaceTime, but you're tiptoeing around it, and you think to yourself, I mean, I've run into a lot of people who say, well, if they want it, they'll come ask me for it. Well, yes, it's true. A certain percentage of your prospects, if they want what you have, are going to come and hunt you down and find you and chase it down. And statistically, talking, but that is about 1/3 of the people. So if you're looking at, 100% is available, 1/3 of the people that you talk to just want what you have. They need what you have. You're in the right place at the right time, and they're going to ask you to sell to them. And that makes you a great order taker. And there's nothing wrong with being an order taker. That presents itself in terms of a lot of sales. And many times, when I've run sales organizations, I mean, those are the salespeople that take the cream off the crop, off the top, right? You're like surface skimming. Those are the people who like work on a car lot and they sell to the people walking in the dealership, or the people that, fill out a form online and then they convert. But they're also the people who don't have a great follow-up system, who don't have a path and a process for leading people, who don't really listen. Right? It's all about verbal vomit. I'm just going to tell you all about the features of my product or service, right? And that's not the best. And that's not going to get you to the promised land in sales. That's going to get you taking orders. 1/3. And then 1/3 of the people that you talk to are never going to buy from you. Doesn't matter what you have to say. Doesn't matter if you promise, gold-plated ice cream for a nickel. They're not going to buy it from you, right? What you're really after is the third. And when I do sales training, I talk about this a lot because when I was introduced to that statistic, I had a light bulb moment, and I learned a sales training methodology back in, I think it was 2006, 2007. And I had already been selling some high price tag items, cars, houses, right? And I was a pretty good salesperson. And so I thought I was pretty good. I was making sales. It wasn't until I heard that statistic and I walked a better path that I realized that I was doing a little bit better than being an order taker, but I wasn't getting to the third. And the third of those sales are the sales only that you are going to make because you say and do the things in the right order. You're walking them on a path with a process. You're making them the heart of the discovery. You're listening more than talking, right? And you truly are mastering this thing called sharing, this thing called selling, so that you can effectively guide people from a place where they need something to a place where they'll institute a change. And that was fascinating to me because I was like, wait a minute, I've already been like selling gangbusters over here, but you're telling me that this is potentially 1/3, and that I could effectively, if I get to the third, because I'm not going to sell to the second third, no matter what I do. So, but effectively, I could go from 1/3 to 2/3. So I could essentially double my sales. Ding, ding, ding. Now, the money magnet that I was by that point, because I had been studying financial literacy for a long time, like that really lit me up. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. So if I learn what I'm doing and I take a mindful approach to this, then I could double my sales. I was super interested in that. And that is actually going to become the basis of the masterclass on sales that I was talking about forming. But part of that process is making sure you're not just getting FaceTime, you're getting more conversations, but you're asking for the sale, right? And to ask for the sale consistently, to ask without hesitation, to ask with none of those objections built into the rhetoric, even on a subconscious level, you have to make sure the kinks are out of your money garden hose. You have to make sure that your old financial programming, whatever your mom and dad or your grandparents or, who grew up in the Great Depression or whatever, passed along, it's not to blame anything or anyone back there. It's to say, that served for those situations and that got me here, but is that really going to get me there? Maybe eating every ounce of food on my plate makes sense if I'm in the Great Depression, but it also might mean that I'm carrying around an extra 50 pounds because of old programming, right? And I'm not in that situation anymore. I don't necessarily need to eat past the point of being full. I'm just using that as an example because it's just an example of how we carry old messages forward into the new day, and it doesn't really serve us necessarily. So we have to make sure that when we're getting the FaceTime, asking for the sale, that we don't have any of this friction in between. And yes, you guys, the mindset piece, the mojo, the motion, the mojo, it does require, and this money piece, it does require work. It doesn't just happen naturally. So I want you to take out a piece of paper for tonight's homework. And I want you to start, look back at your calendar for the last 2 weeks and find out how many times did I actually get FaceTime with my prospects, my prospective clients, customers, or patients, and how many times did I ask for it? And now going forward, how can I move the needle on that? How can I go from 5 appointments to 10 appointments? How can I go from 5 appointments to 15 appointments, right? And, and then I would say, an even more advanced level of that planning is to reel it back from your target. If your financial target is $2,000 and for every sale you make $500, then you can reel it backwards and go, oh, well, to make $2,000, I have to make 4 sales. Okay, I have to make 4 sales. It actually takes me 12 conversations to net 4 sales. It takes me approximately, 3 weeks to make each of those conversations happen or go through the sales cycle. Like I can start to reel it back and do the math, right? And so I can look at my 90-day JumpStart and I can say, oh, well, then to net these 4 sales, I need 12 appointments and I need 12 appointments in the next 60 days. Okay, in the next 60 days, 12 appointments. Well, that gives me 8 weeks. And so I can figure out the math on exactly how many appointments per week I need, right? So sales really does come back to process, and it's all a math game. It's all a math game. It is predictable, but it is not predictable to those who don't look. It's not predictable if you're not really willing to face the truth. If you want to stay hidden in the economic blame game, or you want to just stay stuck in, well, I'm afraid that there's a recession and so nobody wants to talk to me. I don't think anybody can afford what I have. Well, that's your choice. But I'm going to tell you that you can create your own economy. So I would say, use this opportunity for the JumpStart Challenge to get in motion, stay in motion, and create some really dynamic conversations. Get out there and start looking for FaceTime opportunities. I know for me, I need to double my FaceTime opportunities, and I need to ask more, because what I want to accomplish is that target is derived from a heart space. It really matters to me and my family, right? And I've set my target in such a way that it is pulling me towards it, right? So if you want to know more about that, go back and watch some of the replays, and also, check out my book on Amazon, Up Level. And, because that really outlines how to set effective targets. And in this sprint of 90 days, you want 3 targets: a physical, a financial, and another. And you're going to take the next 3 legs of 30 days each to drive towards those targets. And it's okay if you set such a big goal for example, that it takes you more than one sprint, but just know, right? And map it out, work it backwards. Be strategic in your thinking. And I think success leaves clues, and I think it's okay to be intentional. And then what I've seen is that the universe will rise up in momentum to match your energy and momentum, and if you're a faith-filled person, you can call that grace. Your faithfulness will meet his faithfulness. I've seen that over and over and over, but you will become a force to be reckoned with. And that is the goal of the Jumpstart Challenge, because this fall sprint has the ability to impact not just the next 90 days, but well beyond the next 90 days. And I am so excited for you to experience that momentum. So if you get a chance to, please comment, post, and participate. I would love to hear how things are shaping up for you. But I can tell you that as your guide on this journey, it's exciting what we're creating. And it's going to be fantastic. The things that you're going to do, see, and be at the end of this 90 days and during this 90 days is incredible. And I'm already starting to see some of the quickening. I'm starting to see in my own life just the 20 minutes each day, and the mindset recalibration, and the posture, right? Just really owning with confidence, what you bring to the table. It's so exciting, you guys. It's so exciting. So I'm stoked. I'm excited to continue this journey. We have one more day of momentum. And so take out that piece of paper, look for those opportunities, look back at your history, and then decide what you want the next couple of weeks to look like, and even the next 4 weeks in the first leg, because you're setting the stage. You're setting the stage for the next 90 days and beyond. And you're going to be intentional and focused for the next 90 days, because you're going to create incredible results in that. So yes, it's on me. I need to follow through with my commitment of creating a sales masterclass for you, which I'm going to do in the next 90 days. You need to follow through on your commitment, not to me, to yourself. So if you saw something possible 2 days ago, don't give up. Don't give up just because it's 2 days later and you didn't get a good night's sleep and the dog kept you up, or the baby kept you up half the night, or whatever the excuse of the day is. Don't give up, guys. Long obedience in the same direction. Let's jumpstart together through the entire 90 days. You've got me on video. I'm here for just one more day. And I will check in periodically throughout the sprint. I don't know exactly when those intervals will be, but I'll post. But more importantly, I want the commitment that you make to yourself. I want those targets to be rooted in what really matters to you, right? What really matters to you and what makes a difference and an impact on your business and in your life for you and your family, right? We're talking about your why. My family is so much of my why. And I'm sure that your family is so much of your why, right? And will it get me out of bed in the morning to do it for them? Yeah, it will. It will every time, right? I never do for myself, right? And maybe you're in the same boat and same position. And that's really cool, because that means that you have a big heart. And my guess is that they're worth jumpstarting for. They're worth crafting and designing and creating the very best life, the very best business. And I'm excited to be with you. So thank you so much. We're going to wrap up just a couple minutes early today. You've got a lot of work to do. I've got a lot of work to do. And so we're going to jump forward into the next new day.